Okay, I think our mic is on, maybe. Apologies for such a long wait on the next chapter. Next chapter is called Irish Hackers. From the book Ringsend. John Boy dropped by Tesco the following afternoon. Here's the USB I need to be in the keyboard when he logs in. It'll read his login and password and a few other things I need. It's fucking tiny, said Peter. It needs to be so he doesn't see it. It's a bit risky, Pete. It needs to be in there to pick up the information I need, and hopefully he doesn't try to plug something else into that port. If he finds it, the bollocks will figure out fast what it is. Can you insert it and get it back to me the next day? I'll do my best, said Peter. Sorry, you can't beat an old-fashioned book, but I didn't bring it with me. Now, that's me speaking, not the book. Now, I have it set up so it shouldn't flash on his screen when you insert it. I'm hoping he's using Windows. Do you know if he is? Not sure, John Boy. All right, leave it to me. I'll come back. I'll come up with a plan and get it in and out of there. John Boy left and Peter texted Francois. Can I come by later, Francois? I need to raise a concern. Do you need Colonel Thompson also? Yeah, I'll get back to you. 20 minutes went by. Come by here at 5:15. Peter arrived at the station around 5:12 p.m. He went downstairs and saw Francois at his desktop. Peter had his hands in his pocket feeling for the USB drive. Thompson came on screen. Good evening, Mr. Casey. What's on your mind? Well, Colonel, I have some concerns. There was an American guy in the news last night that's been reported missing. Well, it turns out I met him at McDade's last week. Is that so? Responded Thompson. Yeah, we talked a while and then I saw him again at my local pub the night he went missing. He'd been following me around. What did you talk about? Asked Thompson. Oh, he was a bit incoherent both times. I think he drank too much, but he somehow knew about the cyborgs and said there was some underlying motive behind them. Did he say what the motive was? No, by the time I asked, his phone went off and he needed to leave the pub. And he said nothing else? No, that's it. As much as we've tried to keep this program undercover, there are a few who have known about it and are bothered by it. He was probably one of those. From the papers, it looks like he had mental illness or was depressed or something like that. Oh, I must have missed that part, said Peter. Let me turn up my brightness a bit here. Well, thank you for calling, Mr. Casey. Better safe than sorry. Have a good evening. Oh, hang on a sec, Colonel. Is there anything I should be concerned about? Nothing at all, Mr. Casey. Good night. Peter remained standing. Francois went back to his work on his desktop. So how's life with you, Francois? Good. Peter could tell Francois was ready to go back to work. Peter grabbed his keyboard away from him. That's a lovely keyboard, Francois. As he rotated the keyboard to look at it, Francois requested that he put it back in his desk. Oh, sorry, Francois, I just wanted to get the brand name. It's a standard Dell keyboard, Mr. Casey, just like it says on the monitor. I would have just told you that if you had asked. Well, good night then, Francois. Don't work too hard. Peter left the building and called John Boy from a payphone on the way home. It's in there. Wasn't easy. Nice work. That idea of telling them about the American was genius, John Boy. Did they buy it? They seemed to. I didn't tell them all the Yank had told me, of course, but me bringing it up to them probably scored me some points. I just have to find a way to get that USB back. That fucker's arse is glued to his chair. Call him tomorrow and tell him you lost your wallet or something like that, and it may be here. I'm assuming he'll log out tonight and be back in the morning. So you should be good to go any time after that. Peter returned to Irishtown Garda Station the following afternoon after his shift was over. He's busy right now, said the Garda after hanging up the phone. Can I take a message? No, I need to get down there. I lost my BankLink card. I think it may be down there. When did you lose it? Last night. Well, nobody handed it in, lost and found. Well, I'll just head down there anyway and check. He said he's busy. Listen, please let me get down there. You know me. You've seen me before. I need to find that card and feed the babies. Oh, and another thing. I know it's been years, but I wanted to apologise for that time I was acting the arse outside Clark's. It wasn't right. Is that an apology? Yes, sir, it is. And I'm sorry I've not been very friendly when I've come to visit. I just haven't been in a good place, said Peter. Apology accepted, said the Garda as he escorted Peter down. I lost my bank-link card, Francois, said Peter to a frustrated Frenchman who was trying to work. I've not seen it here and I've been here all day. Peter grabbed Francois's keyboard again. I remember looking at your keyboard last night, so wondering if it might be under it. Yeah, well, it looks like it's not. The computer beeped, and on the bottom right of the screen was displayed device removed. Peter could feel the instant rush of blood to his head. He could have sworn that Francois saw it. In a moment of panic, he put his hand behind the computer screen. I must have unplugged your keyboard, Francois. Sorry. Without Francois being able to see behind the monitor, Peter tried to give the appearance that he was plugging his keyboard back into the back of the monitor. Well, it's not here. Call me Francois if you see my bank-link card, will you? And with that, he was gone as fast as he could be. John Boy's wife answered the front door. Peter, come in. Is John Boy here, Siobhan? Just need to drop something off. Come on in. We're about to have dinner. Join us, Peter. No, Siobhan, I don't want to intrude. Did you eat? No, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine, Siobhan. Did you have dinner plans? I don't. Don't bring out the Irish mother in me, Peter. All right, Siobhan, all right. Hey, Peter, said John Boy. Sorry to bother you. No bother, we've plenty of food to go round. Glass of wine, Peter? Sure. So what did you want to drop off with John? Peter froze. Some music I made for John Boy. Peter handed John Boy the USB drive. A USB drive? Don't you pay for Spotify? Asked Siobhan. Yeah, but it's not the same, said John Boy. Why wouldn't you just text him the songs? Asked Siobhan. Siobhan looked at John Boy. John Boy looked at Peter. It's not the same, said Peter. What do you mean? Said Siobhan. Well, in the old days I used to make him cassettes to listen to and then CDs, and then he got all snobby and got Spotify and put me out of business. Anyway, there's nothing that compares to handing a friend your own music collection. You can smell the bromance in the air, said Siobhan as she took a sip of her wine. And besides, said Peter, and as he was placing chicken and potatoes on his fork, you can't get this stuff on Spotify, I'm sure. It's a collection of 80 songs on 12-inch. John Boy, realizing that his friend had finally got himself unstuck, chimed in. Yeah, I can't find 12-inch mixes there at all. Siobhan looked at both of them. Look at the two of you. I've known you both since you were 16. You have that same bullshit look on your faces that you did that night at Lansdowne when John Boy came up to me saying that you fancied me, Pete. All the time it was him. Took him over a decade after that to ask me out, Siobhan said to John Boy with raised eyebrows. At this point, Siobhan's eyes widened and she pointed her fork at John Boy. If you two are trading porn... come on, Siobhan. Why would we do that? Well, you're up to something no good. I swear, Siobhan, they're 12-inch singles. I bet they are 12-inch singles, Peter. Siobhan, I didn't mean it like that, said Peter, his face going a shade of scarlet. Come on now, Siobhan, chimed in John Boy. You're making a mountain out of a molehill here. I'll prove it. He put the drive into a laptop beside him and opened a folder showing job stuff. Click around. There's nothing here except this login folder. What? Said Peter. Where's Frankie Goes to Hollywood? Human League. For fuck's sake, Peter, will you drop your 12-inch story and learn to download your porn properly? Siobhan, it's not like that. You go watch telly and Peter and I will wash up. Do you mind if we go for one after that? Yeah, fine, said Siobhan. After washing up, they got into John Boy's car. There's an internet cafe in Dundrum. I want to get far away from here. It closes at 10. They arrived 15 minutes later and found an open desktop. After paying for an hour slot in cash, John Boy pulled up his login folder and started looking at the files. How does it look? How does it work? It records his keystrokes from when you placed it in to when you removed it. Then pulls up some other info I need. Here we go. Logged off last night, 11 p.m. This Francois guy looks quite the hard worker, eh? Yeah, his arse is glued to the chair, as I said. Okay, then he comes back at 7 a.m. the next morning. Does he have a life outside it all? And bingo, we have our login and password. Gold! Always believe in your soul, John Boy sang out loud, causing some heads to turn his way. John Boy proceeded to open another window. Shit. Fuck. What? He has two-factor authentication through his smartphone. Why the fuck didn't I think of that? Fuck. Are we fucked or what, said Peter. No, there's a way around it. Well, kind of. I can get in and bypass it, but I can't stop the message it sends to his phone. As soon as I log in, he'll get the alert on his phone to confirm, even though I'll have gone in through a back door by then. I don't follow, said Peter. The long and the short of it is that once I'm in, I have a short window to download the files I need. He'll know right away that he's been hacked and will go in and change his password. I'm hoping he doesn't have a remote access option, and he has to drive into the station to fix it all. John Boy paused and looked at Peter. They'll know they were hacked. You all right with that? Will they know it was us? They'll trace the IP address back here, Francois. Francois's not a gobshite, I'm guessing. Do what you need to do, John Boy. We've come this far. Let's see where this rabbit hole takes us, as your man in the Matrix says. John Boy looked at the young girl at the desk, lost in her own world. You wait in the car. They'll trace it back here and interview her. And she doesn't need to be remembering both our faces. Peter followed instructions and waited in the car. John Boy finally got into the main database and started looking around. He started downloading folders of agents' information, including a data file of controllers across Europe. He found the email server and stopped and texted Peter. Who is the big guy? Townsend? Thompson. Thanks. He located Thompson's email profile and anything else connected to his name and downloaded them. There was a folder called Roadmap that looked interesting, so he grabbed that. He downloaded as many folders as he could fit on his USB drive in order of importance. He looked at the girl at the counter, who now looked up at him. He turned his head away. Francois had just arrived at Irishtown police station after having got the alert to confirm login. By this time the downloads were complete. John Boy ejected the drive and left the cafe. They arrived back at John Boy's place. Siobhan was upstairs watching television. They entered the kitchen, opened the laptop and combed through the files. First they looked at the controller profiles. Each profile had a field showing their deceased loved ones, a lost son, daughter, spouse, sibling. All were people who were close relatives. They saw Peter's profile and Jackie's, both showing a link to Michelle Casey's profile, which mainly emphasized her cause of death. Cherie's profile was also there, showing her son's cause of death. There were no fields for IQ, EQ, moral standing, superior reflexes, or abilities to multitask. This dinging is kind of annoying me, sorry. Okay. He included no mention of sainthood, nothing but connections to victims of terrorist attacks. The American was right, said John Boy. They went through Thompson's emails and found a pattern of communications to a man in France. One email read, our most recent recruit is promising. We've observed the temperament we desire. He seems trigger happy, as they say in America. My analyst in Dublin is looking for patterns. While he is happy to kill, as of yet we cannot determine if he will kill anyone deemed as a threat or our ultimate target. He's talking about me, John Boy. What is our ultimate target then? Terrorists? The tone of these emails tells me that this is not defensive. They're looking for a fight. Shouldn't they be? Let's look at more profiles. John Boy looked through all of the profiles and the terrorist attacks to which their loved ones were attached. Charlie Hebdo, Bataclan, Brussels, Madrid, London. John Boy looked into space. Nobody from Norway. What do you mean, John Boy? Funny that there are no relatives from the terrorist strike in Oslo and the youth camp, or nothing from the attacks near Frankfurt in early 2020. What's your point? Said Peter. Just interesting that they are missing. Weren't they far-right groups in Norway and Frankfurt? I think so, said Pete. Peter's phone rang. Oh, fuck, it's Thompson. I'm out of here, John Boy. Where are you going? Anywhere but here. You don't need to be pulled into this shit. Here, give me that drive. Let me make a copy first. John Boy copied the information and handed the drive back to Peter. Peter left the house and cycled down the street and called Thompson back. Sorry, Colonel, I was on my bike when you called. We've had a cybersecurity breach. Please come in right away. Peter headed in that direction, but stopped behind St. Matthew's Church across from the Garda station. Behind it he found a bush and placed the USB drive behind it, pressing it into the ground. He proceeded to the station. When he walked into the room, Francois was there with Thompson on screen. Good evening, Mr. Casey. It seems someone broke into our system. They accessed through Francois' login. We've traced it to an internet cafe in Dundrum. Do you know anything about it? At this point, the guard who normally greeted Peter appeared. Peter looked his way. You lads pack heat now? He said nervously. Did you place something in my keyboard? Asked Francois. Why would I do that? Mr. Casey, interrupted Thompson, were you in an internet cafe in Dundrum tonight? Peter froze. Should he lie? They probably knew. No. Why would you lie? We tracked you. Our chip is in your head, sir, said Francois. Wait a minute. You lot are fucking tracking me now? This thing has a fucking satellite tracker in it? Of course, every good business tracks its inventory. Its inventory? Is that what I am? What did you and your friend find? What friend? Your childhood friend, John. Leave him out of this. You brought him into this. What did you find? That all the controllers are close relatives of someone who was killed by a terrorist, nothing to do with EQ, IQ and all that other bullshit you told me, Thompson. That's as far as we got. Peter's phone rang. It was John Boy. Would you like to answer that? No. It rang again. He rejected the call. Mr. Casey, it seems as though you have lost trust in our intent. Why did you feel a need to hack into our system? If you had questions, why not ask us? Peter sat silent. Garda, make up a bed for Mr. Casey. He'll be spending the night. Am I your prisoner now? Thompson ended the video link. I'll take that, said the guard as he took Peter's phone. Siobhan Coyle was startled by the doorbell ringing so late. She went downstairs and opened the door to two guards. Is your husband home? No. Do you know where he is? No, he just left. Is he in trouble? May we come in? I suppose. Does your husband have a computer here? Why? We need to see it. It's in the kitchen. They proceeded to the kitchen only to find a power cord and a mouse. He must have taken it with him. Does he have illegal porn on it? Said Siobhan. No, miss. When he comes home, please have him come to the station with the computer. And that's the end of Irish Hackers.